Because what I thought was freedom was not. I was imprisoned by my thoughts, by what I thought society demanded, by what I thought my culture demanded. I was a prisoner to all of that pressure and then the speed at which I thought I had to accomplish things to keep going. And Miami is terrible for this, right? I don't know which other cities you all are from, but like Miami is so stuck in what it looks like, what car you're driving, what house you live in, all of those superficial things that it is easy to get caught up in, especially in the days and age that we're in of social media. What I gathered after I came home, and I did basically a decade now of research, I had to understand what went wrong. I needed to understand for myself, how did the perfect little Indian girl go so off path? Because I used to define myself by all of those accolades and perfection. Maybe you can relate. And yet, I drifted. So as I began to understand how we drift, it doesn't happen in bad people. It happens in good people operating under pressure and speed and the noise. So I began to think about, like, what if I created something? Like, I need to understand first what went wrong. And I recognized that there are actually 4 walls that we find ourselves in. So the first is uncertainty. In 2007, when I was going through this, I had total uncertainty, right? I was hustling, trying to grow my business. I was having marital problems. The kids were at home asking me to come home. And so the uncertainty of, like, will I be able to survive? Can I make my payroll? Can I pay for my kids' school? All of that uncertainty was looming with pressure on me. And that pressure became a wall. It became a context under which I was operating. On top of that, in 2007, you started having hints of the market about to collapse. Interest rates were having issues. Now fast forward to today, 2026. Are we in uncertainty right now? I actually believe that we are always in uncertainty. It is like kind of the universal truth, and we need to thrive and learn how to grow and live within uncertainty and evolve in it. There's a study that came out at the end of 2025, it's called the World Uncertainty Index. Some of you are nodding your heads, you've seen this. Do you know that the world believes that we are more unstable and more uncertain than ever before in the history of the world? More than the pandemic, more than the Spanish flu, more than any war. Isn't that crazy? We are living in total uncertainty right now. Government uncertainty, market uncertainty, climate uncertainty. And on top of that, we just are uncertain about how we're going to survive. Is the next deal going to close? Are the rates going to spike? Are there going to be tariffs? Right? So uncertainty is a wall that we are operating within if we're in a room. The next is family and life pressures I was in. Am I enough? Will I make my parents proud of me? Can I make my society proud of me? Can I cover all of my expenses? As a solopreneur, I had all of these pressures of looming. I have 2 little kids. So kids are on top of me all the time, and we're trying to run around. So who can recognize what this looks like? I'm on the phone. It's not me, obviously. I'm running on the phone. I'm running around. I'm headed to a meeting, but my daughter calls, and I've got to handle something. I've got my laptop. I'm running to a closing. You have all been here. Balancing all the juggling of hats that we all wear. The third wall is silence. Now I say silence because we are all silencing our inner voice. I got really good at that. I got really good at not listening to my inner voice. And now you may call it God, your moral compass, energy, but you get really good at not listening to what your inner voice is saying because you want to achieve the outcomes you have set up forth for yourself. So when you silence your inner voice, that becomes a wall in the context of what you're operating. But the other part of that is, as leaders, isn't it true that the loudest person in the room often is who gets listened to? And you don't want to say anything because you're afraid of how you're going to be seen. You're afraid of how somebody's going to perceive you. So even though you feel like it doesn't sit right with you, or you should question something, nobody else is saying anything. Right? Have you ever been in a room where you just don't say anything because nobody else is saying anything? And it could be like a boss, the team, family members, right? When we're surrounded by others who don't say anything, and if we don't feel like something's right, when we silence ourselves, or if you're the leader, you don't allow the space for disagreement, so it goes both ways, that silence becomes a wall under which you're operating. And then finally, of course, we all know this, technology and automation. Now in 2007, of course, we didn't have AI, but technology was there. So like I forwarded an email because there was email. I mean, I remember like in college, I didn't have email. And it's so much easier and faster to do things now with technology and automation. And that automation is causing us to do things faster, feel like we have to go faster because everybody else is doing it faster. And AI is an incredible tool. This slide was created by AI. Right? I use AI pretty much every day. We all do. It is such a great, I call it an intern, for the work that we do. But our human judgment matters. We can't just rely on what AI is telling us. Do you know that Deloitte just came out with a study 2 months ago? They surveyed 9,000 leaders across 89 countries. Guess what the survey results say? 60% of these leaders use AI to help them make decisions. But only 5% feel like they can rely on them or actually manage that. So I did a little experiment. Yesterday I went to my AI and I thought, okay, I'm about to speak to women in the affordable housing space. So this is a very basic example. Thank you, Mark, for helping me come up with this idea. But anyway, so I basically asked it, I need to close on a multifamily housing transaction today, but I just found out that the insurance certificate is incomplete. What should I do? Anybody have any ideas of what AI told me? Well, this is my boyfriend, Claude, by the way. I am single, sadly. Who thinks that Claude gave me a one-line answer? No? Who thinks Claude asked me some questions? Well, let me tell you what Claude said. I mean, you guys are laughing. Isn't that crazy? Yeah, oh my God is right. Oh, some of you have been in these shoes before. Here's the question. What are the legal consequences? What is the information missing? Who is going to be affected? I mean, there are so many questions that we should be talking, but think about, you all are way smarter than this. But there are leaders, there are people in this world who are asking AI questions and are not and trusting it as if it's facts. They're not going back and asking, they're not applying human judgment. And when you don't apply your own common sense, your own intelligence and knowledge and brilliance to what AI is suggesting, you're creating a wall that you're going to drift within. And the thing is like you have intention, but the gap between intention and action begins to widen in all of these walls. And that gap is called the drift. And unless we're aware of it, we can't do anything about it. And I think this is the modern leadership challenge today, is how do we control the drift, right? Because the drift is these four walls that we're living in that we don't even realize it, but they are all there every single day, multiple times a day, every single one of us. Uncertainty, family and life pressures, silence, and technology and automation. And we are living in a self-imposed prison without realizing it. And it looks like glass walls. I literally had to go to prison to understand that I was living in a self-imposed prison my whole life without freedom.